Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We are here to help you with the analysis of the first slot. We've talked to quite a few students and we've come here to talk about what we've felt about the first slot of CET 2025.
Yeah, they talked to a lot of students. There are a couple of things before for anyone going to the slot two or other slot should definitely have a look at. So we'll be sharing our whiteboard and giving a few of our insights over there.
Okay.
So I'll start with a couple of idea that I have got from a lot of students is that paper was very lengthy. Okay. And what do you mean by very lengthy? Is that paper was easy to moderate but it was very lengthy. So, for example, you're solving a puzzle set. It is as big as you solve for a 5 question puzzle set in any mock, but in exam there were only 2 questions or 3 questions for that particular set.
Yeah.
So this is what we mean by lengthy. How to tackle a lengthy paper is by round robin method. What is round robin method is nothing but, for example, you are in LR, then abstract, then QA, and verbal, for example. Normally in mocks, there are 75 questions. Normally in mocks, there are, let's say, 15 questions that are lengthy or 10 questions that are lengthy and difficult. In this case, there were more than this. So there were maybe around 25 questions to 30 questions that were lengthy, similar to sets like this. So even students who were spending, let's say, around 60 minutes now spent around 70 to 75 minutes in LR because it was lengthy. How to tackle is that you try to solve all the easy questions first. Once you finish solving all the easy questions, for example, there are 200 questions. Let's say there are 100 difficult questions or 100 lengthy questions, but there are 100 easy questions as well. Your focus should be not to stick to a particular time limit for each and every section. Finish all the 100 easy questions first and then decide to tackle on the lengthy questions later. Also, abstract reasoning, a lot of students suggested that it was very, very easy and came directly from last year PYQs.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Around 20 questions were from PYQs itself.
yeah.
And there were some new questions that we've gotten around 3 to 5, which was like counting the number of triangles, squares, and rhombuses in the question. So probably you can be prepared for these new questions, but doesn't mean that you spend more time in it because there are other sections जो थोड़े lengthy easy questions, so you have to identify the easy ones.
Correct. So all came down, boiled down in this slot to the point that who was able to identify easier questions first and finish it off, and then move on to difficult ones or the lengthier ones. Ideal attempt, as per a lot of students, what I got is that one around 150 or maybe 160 is something that they were able to attempt genuinely. So your people who and also a lot of students of the top percentile who had prepared really well mentioned that it was closer to slot 4, not exactly as difficult as slot 4. It was easy to medium, but it was lengthy, but they could compare it to slot 4. So sort of a difficult set. So what we can assume is that scores will be scaled and normalized. Okay. So even if you feel that you could have done better, etc., you don't have to worry. If you are someone who has been performing really good in mocks, etc., your scores will be normalized and this it will be decent only. You don't have to worry a lot about it. But for students who are going to go for slot 2, the only important point that you have to understand is that try to solve easy questions first. As I mentioned, the manager's mentality, they don't care about difficult questions or lengthy questions. नहीं solve करूंगा तो लोग जज करेंगे. आपका एक ही टारगेट है, 200 क्वेश्चंस है, सबसे इजी पहले कर लो फिर उसके बाद डिफिकल्ट में जाना. Okay, any questions anyone has, you can please post it on the comment section. We will
People are
be.
asking questions, but मुझे इन लोग को थोड़े new questions ही बताने हैं that had come in verbal section. Guys, RC में a lot of inference based questions had come. So inference based questions के लिए तुम लोग ready हो सकते हो. Doesn't mean of course कि second slot में आए, but this is what you've got from the first slot. उसके अलावा in RCs you were given a sentence. वो sentence में a word is given. For example, I'm just choosing a random word like tranquil. So what they'll ask you is, they won't give you the meaning of this. They would say कि suggest a word which can be replaced from tranquil from the RC. तो RC में you have to find a very close word जो tranquil के मतलब का हो गया, and उसके बदले आपको प्लेस करके वो आंसर चूज करना है. So that is one of the questions जो RC में नया आता है. एंड सेकेंडली आपको एक स्पेलिंग दिया जाएगा, कोई डिफिकल्ट वर्ड होएगा, कुड बी फ्रॉम साइंस, हिस्ट्री, फिलोसफी, व्हाटएवर. एंड आपको बोला होगा कि ये स्पेलिंग गलत है, एंड यू हैव टू चूज द राइट स्पेलिंग फ्रॉम द 4 ऑप्शंस. सो ये एक अलग टाइप का क्वेश्चन आया था. अ लॉट ऑफ सिनोनिम्स एंड एंटोनिम्स हैड कम. सिनोनिम्स सबसे ज्यादा आए थे आरसीज में भी, तो उसके लिए तुम तैयार रहो. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग फ्रॉम वर्बल सेक्शन. क्वांट्स में डीआई काफी लेंदी आया था, कैट एंड जैट के लेवल का. बट अगेन दिस इज जस्ट फॉर स्लॉट 1. इसके वजह से तुम्हें डिसहार्टन नहीं होना है फॉर स्लॉट 2 के लिए. there's a high possibility that that might be easy. Suppose abstract टफ आ सकता है, abstract जो easy आया था पिछले स्लॉट में. सो कोई भी प्री कंसीव नोशन के साथ मत जाना. गो विद एन ओपन माइंड. दिस इज जस्ट द न्यू टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट वी आर टेलिंग यू कि ऐसा ऐसा आ सकता है. सो जस्ट बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर समथिंग न्यू, क्योंकि हर बार सेम तो नहीं आ सकता, कुछ ना कुछ तो चेंजेस होंगे. सो जस्ट बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट. Yes, Tanvi, there was a lot of vocab. Vocab मतलब direct meanings नहीं, but synonyms, antonyms, finding a replacement from the RCs, correct spellings वैसे type के आए हुए थे. So yes. Critical reasoning नहीं आया था guys LR में. That is another point. भर भर के सिंगल पजल, जैसे श्रीकांत ने बोला कि इंस्टेड ऑफ एक पजल के ऊपर 5-6 क्वेश्चन, एक पजल पे 1 या 2 क्वेश्चन वैसे टाइप के थे, जिसकी वजह से काफी लेंदी हो गया था. देयर इज अ हाई पॉसिबिलिटी कि मैनेजमेंट में से कोई बीच में आके तुमसे साइन ले, बीच में पेपर वर्क कुछ कराए. डोंट लूज फोकस. कुछ झगड़े वगड़े पे आई डोंट थिंक इतना फोकस करना चाहिए. जैसे ही वो है फटाफट साइन करके जस्ट बी बैक टू योर पेपर. उस पर टाइम वेस्ट करके और दिमाग खराब करके मतलब नहीं है. एम आई राइट श्रीकांत?
Yeah, and I think in terms of mocks comparison, a lot of students have been asking. It is sort of similar to the test funda mocks, the later half of the test funda mocks, in which you might have scored around in 1 to 17. Let's say if students have scored around 150, as I have shared in the mock leaderboard tracker as well. So around I think toppers जो ये range में score कर पा रहे थे, ये sort of वैसा ही similar mock था, 150 160 वाला. And I think couple of us have given अटल mocks as well. तो अटल mock से भी थोड़ा slightly similar आप बोल सकते हो, not completely off. But yeah, TF mock is something that is I found out was closer. There were also some questions from TTP mocks like games and tournaments, and also some puzzle sets, etc. Any questions, any more questions that you guys have before going into the examination?
किसी ने लिखा है माइनस टुमारो मॉर्निंग, डर लग रहा है. अरे भाई, डर नहीं लगना चाहिए. जस्ट गो विथ सम कॉन्फिडेंस. सी, डर के you'd only mess the paper. भला तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. If you're calm, then that's when only you can think. Stick to your time that you've given to every section. एंड जितना भी टफ इजी है, जैसे शिखा ने बोला, लुक फॉर इजियर क्वेश्चंस बिकॉज पेपर लेंदी है। तो
Yeah,
फिर टाइम वेस्ट करके मतलब नहीं ऑन एवरी क्वेश्चन, जस्ट आइडेंटिफाई द इजी वंस।
yeah. So to put it like a short review at the end, let's say LR, it was lengthy, but it was easy to moderate.
हम्म।
Similarly, AR, very easy. A lot of our students were able to finish it in like 10 to 12 minutes at
हम्म।
max. 8 to 10 questions. A lot of students have said that they are already solved it in a lot of mocks, like test funda mocks, Atal mocks, and last year PYQs. So they hardly took 5 seconds or something to solve those. Coming to quants, again, there were some lengthy questions here itself. But again, if we consider the overall level, again, it was somewhat moderate. And coming to verbal, again, RCs, there were 3 RCs. Okay, it was lengthy.
एंड
There
इन्फरेंस भी
were,
थे।
there were vocab, okay, a lot of questions, lot of vocab questions, which is not something surprising or new. It is something that you're prepared for all of the mocks. And a little bit of new type of vocab questions like spelling rearrangement and antonyms, synonyms, okay, different types of questions. Again, this was lengthy. The RCs were too long to read. Some of the students have attempted only two. They did not read a single last RC, which was very, very lengthy. So again, it was something sort of easy to moderate, but lengthy. So this is what you have to know about slot one. Uh, Now the challenge or the learnings that we should take out of this particular slot was, don't spend a lot of time initially on lengthy questions. This was the most important learning that I could understand from all of my students. अगर आप स्टार्टिंग में ही लेंथी क्वेश्चंस में ज्यादा टाइम डाल दोगे, जिसमें सिर्फ दो ही क्वेश्चंस है, बट दो क्वेश्चन है सॉल्व करने के लिए, बट इतना लेंदी है कि वो डेटा 5 क्वेश्चन सेट जैसा है। ठीक है, तो इस क्वेश्चन को इनिशियली नहीं सॉल्व करना चाहिए। ऑलवेज इन एनी सेक्शन और ओवरऑल in your attempt, solve easy questions first, then move to lengthy easy questions, then moderate, then lengthy moderate. ठीक है, this should be the strategy. I think if you follow this, you will be good in this examination. And we have prepared for a lot of mocks. I think we are prepared for this examination as well. And again, nothing apart from this that you need to know. Rest all is just a lot of noise that will be there. But yeah.
10 लोग से ज्यादा बात मत करो, लुक एट प्रॉपर एनालिसिस। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी ब्रिंग यू द एग्जैक्ट वंस दैट वी गेट फ्रॉम 100 पीपल, उसको कोलेट करके हमारे नॉलेज के हिसाब से हम आपको बताते हैं। ज्यादा लोगों का सुनोगे, ज्यादा टेंशन में होगे एंड यू विल मिस द पेपर। सो प्लीज बी फोकस्ड। जैसे श्रीकांत ने बोला, आजू बाजू बहुत सारा नॉइज होने वाला है।
Yeah.
डोंट फोकस ऑन दैट। ट्रस्ट योर प्रिपरेशन, हैव कॉन्फिडेंस, हैव फेथ, and just stick to the plan. Stick
Yeah.
to the easy ones, stick to the sectional times, and you would sail through.
Yeah. And there were any questions from CATs at PYQ? There was one set in LR from CAT. Purva mentioning ki there were 7 to 8 RCs. So there weren't 7 to 8 RCs. There would be para summary questions. There were 3 lengthy RCs which our students have just confirmed. So I think gave you the idea of the level of difficulty. Antonyms and synonyms bhi tha. Uh, yeah, there was one question. PYQ wala tha, not exactly 2024 wala, but one LR set was there from last year, and it was smaller, looking easier, but it had involved a lot of P and Q, permutation and combination type of questions. So it was suggestive that you should not solve that. Okay. Any more questions, guys? I mean, students who are going for slot 2, I think
It's
don't take,
almost time, I guess.
yeah, don't
20
take
मिनट में
too
अंदर
much.
बोल बोल बोल.
Don't take too much stress or like too much information from this slot. It could be the case कि थोड़ा सा different है. लोग बोल रहे हैं कि लास्ट ईयर के स्लॉट 4 से थोड़ा सा इजी था, नॉट एग्जैक्टली लाइक स्लॉट 4. Maybe slot 2 is similar, maybe it is different, but doesn't matter. I think the logic is still the same. The way you attempt the mock is that you solve all the easier questions first and then you do the moderate and lengthier ones later. So if you had followed that strategy, I think it would work out in the best for you. Yeah, Vidhan.
Yeah, that's right. uh, मैं बोल रहा था, I genuinely forgot what I was saying. ठीक
Any
है.
more questions anyone has, they can ask. Abstract was again very easy. PYQ से काफी सारे questions थे. No syllogisms, by the way, or students mentioned. Input output भी नहीं था. I think this is something जो आप PYQs देखोगे तो समझोगे. कुछ कुछ slots में नहीं होते हैं input output बिल्कुल भी. एक syllogism someone is saying that था, and around 6 RCs were also there. 3 RCs, हाँ, same. So 6 RCs, 6 to 7 RCs were there, but 3 RCs में सिर्फ एक या दो ही क्वेश्चन दिए. So those are basically para summary sort of questions. So you should ideally avoid it because इतना सारा आप read करोगे और सिर्फ दो ही क्वेश्चन मार्क करोगे तो doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
So
And also, as we had discussed before, this is an examination where they test future managers. So as managers, you have to make a decision कि ये क्वेश्चन करना है, ये नहीं करना है, ये टाइम में मेरा कितना हो पाएगा, मेरा टारगेट क्या है. So think like a manager and try to choose the questions that fetch you the maximum marks in the lowest possible time. सिर्फ 15-20 मिनट बाकी है नेक्स्ट स्लॉट के लिए. सो एनीवन हु इज फ्रॉम स्लॉट टू, ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट. प्लीज डोंट टेक टू मच स्ट्रेस एंड डोंट गो विथ प्री कंसीव नोशन. हमेशा ऐसा होता है, एक स्लॉट में एलआर बहुत टफ आता है, दूसरे स्लॉट में एलआर बहुत इजी आता है. सो जस्ट बिकॉज वी आर सेइंग कि वर्बल लेंदी आता है, दैट डजंट मीन कि स्लॉट 2 में भी लेंदी हो. इट माइट बी वेरी वेरी इजी, ऐसा भी हो सकता है.
yeah. Tips for cons, tip for any other slot would be you solve the easier questions first and then you try to attempt the moderate or difficult ones. कुछ कुछ ज्योमेट्री के क्वेश्चंस भी आए थे, तो जो टॉपिक्स आपने प्रिपेयर नहीं किए हैं डोंट अटेम्प्ट दोज ऑब्वियसली, बट इफ यू हैड जस्ट ओवरलुक्ड all of the concepts and topics once and you would be able to solve a couple of questions, at least attempt a lot of questions. Okay. We won't suggest giving any mock in the last couple of days just before examination.
हाँ, मैक्सिमम आपके पास जो नोटबुक होगा उस पे कुछ लिखा होगा रिवीजन के लिए, तो यू कैन हैव अ लुक एट दैट. हमने भी, किसी ने भी मॉक्स नहीं दिए थे लास्ट डे पे.
Yeah, टेस्ट फंडा के काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस थे. Abstract में particularly, I have been suggesting a lot of students to give area test and sectional test. So area test and sectional test जो है टेस्ट फंडा के, उसमें से बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आए. ऐसा स्टूडेंट्स का रिव्यू है. Obviously, I have not given the examination, so I don't know. But yeah, this is the review from a lot of students, and you can check now as well.
Okay, and also
Yeah,
when it comes to us giving examinations, me and Aditya would be coming for the slot 4 tomorrow in St. Francis, Borivali. So if y'all are there, anyone who's watching the video who's got that center and that slot, do meet us before or after the exam. And Shrikant is slot 6. And Shrikant, your center.
My center is at Chhatrapati Shivaji University. It's near Shedung Toll,
So
the
try to meet
Goa
us.
Express Highway, near towards Karjat. Can we change the sections in between? Yes, you can easily. That's not an issue. And that's why I'm focusing on you solving all the easier questions first and then moving on to immediately different. Okay. I've been scoring around 120 approx in test funda mocks. Can you give me an idea of comparison? It would be similar to that if this was the paper, but again, slot 2 would be somewhat different, I assume. So once that is out, we will be having another live wherein we'll discuss slot 2 also, and so on and so forth. We'll discuss all the 6 slots. But yeah, I think ultimately the key mantra over here is to क्वेश्चन सिलेक्शन. इजी क्वेश्चंस ढूंढो, वो कर लो. बहुत ज्यादा लेंदी क्वेश्चंस भी अगर होंगे तो डजेंट मैटर. मॉक में आप सिर्फ 10-15 लेंदी क्वेश्चन देखते रहोगे, बट एग्जाम में 40 के आसपास लेंदी क्वेश्चंस आ गए. दैट इज ओनली डिफरेंस एंड हेंस एवरीवन इज इन अ जोन और इन अ शॉक कि अरे इतना लेंदी पेपर आ गया, बट इट वाज इजी टू मॉडरेट. So in my suggestion, it was even if it was very very lengthy, you would consider it as a question that you should not solve or a trap question. मतलब अगर 600 वर्ड्स का आरसी दिया है और सिर्फ उसका एक ही क्वेश्चन आपको सॉल्व करने के लिए रहता है, तो लॉजिकली यू शुड नॉट अटेम्प्ट इट, बिकॉज द टाइम दैट यू इन्वेस्ट इन दिस क्वेश्चन इज अ लॉट. तो लास्ट में इसको रख दो या फिर तुक्का मार के आगे चले जाओ एंड देन कम बैक लेटर टू इट. दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू कैन डू. ठीक है. आई थिंक good enough for the first slot. I think students have started going in the center for the second slot. So all the best for them. And
All the
after the
best,
second,
guys.
yeah, after the second slot is over, we will be back again and we will see what changes.